All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Boaz here. Well, this is going to be part two of the series that I'm talking about, or that I've introduced, uh, Pioneers of Truth. And what makes this series so important is it gives you a deep dive into the kind of information that I was able to access at an early age in my walk of truth. And what it allowed me to do was to give me a greater understanding or a clearer understanding of the nature of people, how they flowed, how they thought, how they moved, so that when I saw these signs, I would be able to identify these people. Because, see, if you don't know how to identify an enemy from a friend, a person that cares for you from a person that doesn't, you're going to be trapped into any snare that's put forward in your path. And if you don't know how to discern, if you don't know how to identify good people from bad people, wolves in sheep's clothing, you're going to be took. And this is one of the things that I was able to apply, or these concepts that we're going to go forward in this video and apply to my life, and has been able to get me to clearly see individuals that I've experienced, whether past, current, or in the future. So without further ado, and again, please share this information because it's so important, and a lot of people, they can't think for themselves. They can't critically think. And as a direct result, they're going to get took. They're going to get deceived. They're going to drink the Kool-Aid, which I was never a person that would drink the Kool-Aid, because when you drink the Kool-Aid, this mask of illusion and fake euphoria comes over you, and you're blinded. You're blinded to what's really going on. And it's sad. It's sad. It's a beautiful thing not to have fallen into that snare. But let's go ahead and play what he's talking about in this video.
David Thoreau. There are only two kinds of people in this world: those that want to be left alone and those that just won't leave you alone. For the most part, we do our best to figure this life out by exploring different avenues to find happiness. This may develop in religious pursuits or career paths. We search for people to love and to hold, to make our limited time here on earth the best that it can be. Happiness is the reward we get for living to the highest right we know. Richard Bach. In order to find ourselves, we need to be free to find things that will make us happy. We must have the ability to try different things: jobs, hobbies, friends, and lovers. Having the freedom to fail is crucial to becoming who you are meant to be. The important thing is that no one else on earth, including you, or even your most well-intentioned parents, knows what that will be. It is impossible to know what will make every person happy, so it's useless trying to tell others what will make them happy. Even if you do have the answer for them, it might not be the right time for them, or they must learn other lessons on their own. The key is we need to have the freedom to have our own pursuit of happiness. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it is yours. If it doesn't, it never was. Richard Bach. Instead of the thousands of ways that we can divide ourselves as humans, we can easily divide all of humanity into two basic worldviews: those that view people as good, with a live and let die mentality, and those that feel people as bad, that they are stupid and need to be controlled. Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy. Henry Kissinger. Those that feel people are good have healthy mental states and have empathetic feelings towards each other. They come from a caring environment and have had healthy relationship with others. They possess the ability to feel the emotions of others. This feeling is what we experience when we feel something with music or art. We resonate deeply with it. This deeper connection extends all the way into our nature and our spirituality. When we connect on a deeper level with art, other people, or nature, we might feel a chill up our spine. That is a physical experience when we resonate with something deeper and truer than ourselves. This connection is one of the biggest factors in what makes us human. Those that feel people are bad are most likely hurt souls that have low self-esteem and believe that others are going to hurt them. They are projecting their image of themselves or former abusers onto the rest of society. The result of this abuse is that they are emotionally shut down from others so that they can never get close to being hurt again. They lack empathy and do not understand what all the fuss is about when people express emotions over other people, pets, or art. Because mankind is intrinsically wicked, he has to be governed. Such governance can only be established, however, when men are united, and they can be united against other people. Those that are fit to rule are those that realize that there is no morality, and that there is only one natural right, the right of the superior to rule over the inferior.
Get it? This is how they think.
The people are told what they need to know, and no more. Leo Strauss. There are two basic views of the world. People are good or people are bad. Using these two worldviews, it's easy to see the same thing as two different things. With these two basic views of the world, there are different ways of looking at the same thing. People, for example, by a good person might see them as friends and neighbors. By a person who views the world as bad, will only see them as consumers or voters. Good people will see motivation of others as their needs. Bad people will see it as their desires. Good people will see people's thoughts as rational. Bad people will see other people's thoughts as irrational. Good people will see people's feelings as sympathetic and caring. Bad people will see these feelings as selfish. Good people will see people's states of mind as mentally stable. People who see bad people will only see them as psychopathic. Good people will see other people's pursuits as inner peace. People who view people as bad will see their pursuits as only to buy happiness. People who view people as good will see that their neighbors have the ability to govern themselves, whereas people who see other people as bad see the need for an elite to rule the masses. And ultimately, people who view other people as good, people have the power to be themselves. And people who feel other people are bad view that they cannot be trusted and must be controlled. The most important concept of these two views of the world are that people see others as they see themselves. Those that feel people are bad and act like animals and that they need to be controlled most likely are the ones that act on unempathetic animal instincts to dominate their fellow man. Ironically, they are the only ones that need to be controlled, for they are social predators that are preying upon an unsuspecting society.
Listen to this now. Listen to this. This is how you can spot them. Pay attention.
Beware of false prophets who come disguised as harmless sheep, but they are really vicious wolves. You can identify them by their fruit, that is, by the way they act. A good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit.
Did you hear that? Who was he quoting?
Just as I can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify people by their actions. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. Jesus Christ. The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate pain. Carl Jung. Hurt people hurt people. When people deny pain, we form mental delusions, justifications, and rationalizations to protect the ego. These delusions shut down their emotions for themselves in order to protect the ego, and in turn shuts down their emotions for others. As a result, these people lack empathy and view happiness not through the emotional involvement of friends and family, but through material wealth and control over their environment through the manipulation of others.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
A social predator is a person with an antisocial personality disorder, manifested in aggressive, perverted, criminal, or amoral behavior without empathy or remorse. Deep down, we know if we did something wrong. We lose sleep, we feel sick, we wrestle with our emotions. But social predators don't have that problem. They can commit antisocial activities and sleep like a baby. They lack empathy for anyone, much less their victims. They have built a bubble in their mind that justifies all of their actions.
I'm not saying that you're bipolar.
I'm winning. Winner. Ultimately, they don't understand winning. 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 Wow, winning. That's an area I'm going to win in. That's an area he's going to win in. That is my plan. Thank you, Sonny. Winning.
This is why juries acquit the most obvious criminals, because they cannot believe that someone is that cunning or that unemotional. This is also why lie detectors don't work on those that are so evil. Their heart doesn't skip a beat or sweat when they're lying. It comes to them as natural as breathing.
A pathological liar. They lie just as...
Social predators, or psychopaths, wear the mask of sanity, and in order for a psychopath to function in society, they must mimic those that they wish to be friends with. They act perfectly normal on the outside, but underneath there's tremendous psychological disorders. They recognize that they are different from everyone else. They even view themselves from a distance. That distance is quite similar to a predator in nature stalking its prey. They also have the ability at a very early age to spot other psychopaths. This self-awareness shows a mental and emotional disconnect that they have. They have no conscience and they have no guilt. They feel entitled to do whatever they desire. The psychopath must fool society into accepting their behavior or deceiving them into believing that they are doing God's work. We naturally reveal our sameness to avoid rejection to everybody we meet. We call it relating to one another. In nature, birds would peck other birds to death if that bird had any wounds or blemishes that differentiated themselves from the flock. In the past, strangers were not welcome to the tribe. Unless you were able to prove to people that you were like them, it could mean death. These social predators use this same principle to show their sameness to take advantage of an unsuspecting herd. Sam Vankinen is a self-confessed criminal psychopath that wrote Malignant Self-Love and was the subject of a documentary called I, Psychopath.
I like to present a facade of the self-effacing, modest person. I call it in my book false modesty. It's very worse.
False modesty. Have you ever seen somebody act a false modesty? They lie. They act like they care. They make up stories.
It gives other people the impression that I'm underneath it all, I'm human.
You are human, aren't you?
I firmly believe that you want to believe that, yes. Firmly believe it. The vast majority of psychopaths, like an iceberg, are under the water. And like an iceberg, they are inert. They do nothing. They're just there. They torment their spouse by being unempathic, but they don't beat her or kill her. They bully co-workers, but they don't burn the office. You know, they are not dramatic. They are pernicious. Most psychopaths are subtle. They are more like poison than a knife. And they are more like slow-working poison than cyanide.
How do you identify these psychopaths? Here's a checklist that you can use to identify the people that are in your lives and those in power. Do they have...
Pay attention to these characteristics. Because if you can use these characteristics, then you can see who represents this and you could see them clearly. See, this is why I can see so clearly these people.
Have glibness, superficial charm? Are they callous, lack of empathy? Do they have a grandiose sense of self-worth? Do they have a parasitic lifestyle that provides no real tangible value to humanity?
A parasitic lifestyle that provides no real value to humanity. They don't really bring anything to the table. But this.
Do they have pathological lying? Do they live an impulsive lifestyle? Are they cunning and manipulative? Are they irresponsible? Do they lack...
Are they cunning and manipulative? Are they irresponsible?
Lack remorse or guilt?
Do they lack remorse or guilt?
Do they have many transitory relationships? Are they emotionally shallow people? Do they show criminal behavior? Do they have the failure to accept responsibility for their own actions? Do they need constant stimulation, and are they prone to boredom? Common psychopathic delusions include that they are superior to the victim, that they deserve whatever they want, that everybody else is crazy or wrong. They have delusions of grandeur. They would say, why don't they just listen to me? They see everything as a means to an end, might makes right, or that they're just separating a fool from their money. How do psychopaths work in society? Psychopaths study victims by asking a lot of questions showing interest in the victim. They do this not because they care, but they are trying to see how best to take advantage of the victim, like a cat to a mouse. They then mimic the victim's values, image, tone, and interest. They come on strong, showering the victim with compliments and engaging talk. At work, they're the model employee, or devout followers, or selfless public servants. How many times have you heard the interview with the neighbor saying, after some crime, he seemed like a normal guy, and on the outside these people do. But these social predators lack empathy, love, and compassion. They seek only self-gratification and see others as a mean to that gratification.
You get it? Pay attention to this stuff.
Once their reputation is established with the victim, and they had studied the power structure, it is time to divide and conquer. They will isolate the victim from friends and family. Once they are an item, the roles switch to cut downs to keep their victim insecure and unstable. They have mood swings from, they love you and they can't live without you, to, you're not the person I fell in love with, back to love. One key way of identifying these social predators is watch how they treat others in public. Waitresses, children, former relationships, and older people. If these people do not serve a purpose in the social predator's life, they will most likely treat them in a very unflattering way. In organizations, they seek to cause chaos, pitting one group against another. There they will seek to be the middleman that brings peace. Finally, once in control, the psychopath uses fear and tyranny to push out the strong, independent people out and keep the rest of the weak ones in fear as the inmates run the asylum.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what they do?
Angry that some traitor.
Let's listen to what they do again. I want you to listen to what they do again.
After some crime, he seemed like a normal guy, and on the outside these people do. But these social predators lack empathy, love, and compassion. They seek only self-gratification and see others as a mean to that gratification. Once their reputation is established with the victim, and they had studied the power structure, it is time to divide and conquer. They will isolate the victim from friends and family. Once they are an item, the roles switch to cut downs to keep their victim insecure and unstable. They have mood swings from, they love you and they can't live without you, to, you're not the person I fell in love with, back to love. One key way of identifying these social predators is watch how they treat others in public. Waitresses, children, former relationships, and older people. If these people do not serve a purpose in the social predator's life, they will most likely treat them in a very unflattering way. In organizations, they seek to cause chaos, pitting one group against another. There they will seek to be the middleman that brings peace. Finally, once in control, the psychopath uses fear and tyranny to push out the strong, independent people out and keep the rest of the weak ones in fear as the inmates run the asylum.
Angry that some traders were driving down his stock price.
But what I really want to do is I want to reach in, rip out their heart, and eat it before they die.
I think in the tape there's a sort of nervous laughter in the auditorium. I think that sort of reflects quite a lot about how people within Lehman saw Dick. On the one hand, it sounded at one level amusing, and then you sort of thought to yourself, I suspect if you're in that audience, the really scary thing is he sort of could probably do it.
In a large organization, once a psychopath is in charge, workers' benefits or jobs will be cut while they are asked to sacrifice more. They will be closely monitored and often reviewed. On a national level, the threat of constant war, encroaching government power, and the end of justice makes people either despondent or creates other psychopaths. A nation of sheep always begets a government of wolves. Edward R. Murrow.
This is how I'm able to identify these people. By their fruit you shall know them. If they have these qualities, if you know anybody in any organization, I don't care what it is, whether it's non-for-profit, volunteer, or corporation, make sure that you, number one, can identify them by these traits and characteristics, But in addition to that, protect yourself and not be under any kind of delusion, because you're dealing with wolves in sheep's clothing. I'll close this one out, but this is episode 2. Continue on in Chris Duane's work of Truth Never Told. Beautiful work, isn't it? Pioneers of Truth.